Hello, lovely people, and welcome. Thank you so much for visiting my channel today. It is autumn, and Halloween is very soon, and so I decided to make some Halloween decor for my house and get an additional poured painting out of it as well. So I purchased a bunch of white plastic pumpkins and set them up on top of a pouring canvas to see what I could make from them. I had a little trouble with the big pumpkin convincing it not to fall over, but eventually I got them all set up. They're taped on little cups to stand up, and again with the big pumpkin, they're taped onto these little cups to stand up so that they stay put while I pour paint over them. The paints I'm using for these pours are burnt umber, cadmium red deep hue, and cadmium light hue, and various yellows I had left over. And those are all Liquitex paints. And then in addition, I use from Golden Paints iridescent bronze fine and iridescent gold fine. I mixed all of these paints up with Floetrol, which is a paint conditioning and thinning medium, and a little bit of water so that I got them into a thickness that would run down over the pumpkins at a reasonable rate, while still not being super thin. And then I started with a base layer of the brown, the burnt umber, and then I added colors on top of that and just let them run down and do their thing. I was going for a very free form kind of thing. And I did have to go in and make sure that I was getting coverage of the colors. So you see me doing that here, just spread it around a little bit to make sure I actually was getting the entire pumpkins covered, because once the paint starts to drip, more paint will tend to follow those same tracks. And also paint tends to go in the indentations more than on those outer edges. So I spent some time also, I added paint on the higher up points going around, trying to make sure that I got color activity, not just in the little indentations inside. And basically, I just kept layering up these colors until I liked what I saw. I did notice that on the top where the stem comes, there's a little dip, and that tended to fill up with paint. So I had to spend some time tipping them and getting the paint out of that. Off screen a little later, I also took a straw and blew the paint out of those little indentations because there was still kind of a deep layer. And I was worried about it drying well, plus it wasn't shaping quite right. So this was a fun little project, nothing super exciting, and just winging it with the colors, and I actually really love how they came out. They make a nice little centerpiece and little gifts for one or two friends who like them, and yeah, so these were fun. So again, I just kept doing layers until I liked what I saw. I didn't have to worry about wasting paint because it was going down onto the canvas below it. And in fact, I needed to be kind of sure I had enough paint down on the canvas to do the painting later. Although, of course, I could have added paint if I needed to. In the end, I had almost exactly the right amount. So that worked out very well for me. So, yeah, let me know what you think of these. I thought it was a fun little craft to do, to decorate and to make something that's, kind of unique to me, to my house, and not totally purchased. I may go in later on with black and do little faces on the pumpkins, but probably not. I'm probably just going to leave them as they are. So after they had dripped for a bit onto the canvas, when it seemed like they weren't dripping very much anymore, I took them and set them aside to let them continuing dripping, and then I focused on the canvas itself. So there's a lot of interesting patterning going on. So I just picked up the canvas and tilted it to get all of the edges covered, all of the canvas covered, and kind of just tilted it to one corner and then another, and worked the paint around the entire canvas, just like a regular acrylic pour, and made sure my edges were covered because I hadn't put on a base coat or anything. I needed to make sure that the paint covered all of the edges as well. I did have a little bit of an issue with some of the paint having dried in place because it took long enough to paint the pumpkins that some of the drippings had dried. So I had to go in with some tweezers and pull out a couple of bits where dried paint was bunching up. But other than that, I really like how it came out. Let me know what you think. Please like and subscribe, comment below, and as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and be well. Thank you so much.